At this time, I'd like to call our meeting to order. We appreciate everyone that's in attendance this evening. We have with us Reverend Prentice Harris from Hope Mills United Methodist Church to lead us in our invocation. If you will, all please rise.
If you would, let us pray. Emmanuel, God with us, we give thanks for the season of Advent as we celebrate the birth of our Lord and our Savior, Jesus Christ. It's good to see that you are here in our meeting here tonight for Hope Mills. Lord, it's good to know that we welcome you here and your presence to be with us. We pray that your Spirit will guide the decisions that will be made here tonight and continue to lead this council in the right path, Lord, and help us to continue to be the light for others in Hope Mills. We pray this in Jesus' holy, sweet name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. At this time, do we have any additions or deletions to our agenda?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to add a closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318, 11A6 to discuss personnel matters, and 143-318, 11A3 to consult with the attorney on matters within the attorney-client privilege.
Okay, and I will be adding that after our staff comments, so it'll be at the end of the meeting. Anything else you would like to add or delete from our agenda? If not, do I have a motion to approve the agenda with an addition of a closed session at the end?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. I would like tonight to let you know that Commissioner Legg is under the weather. He is not well, and he did ask that everybody let everybody know that he had requested an excused absence this evening, and he probably will be watching us as we carry out our business. The next we have official comments, and I'll start with Commissioner Mitchell.
Figure you was gonna start with me. Good evening, everyone. Just want to wish everyone a very safe and a blessed Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Commissioner Marley,
No, ma'am, not at this time. I don't have anything.
Commissioner Scroller.
I have a few comments. So we had our tree lighting, and then we also had our Christmas parade. So I'd like to do a shout out and thanks to the Historic Preservation Committee, the Appearance Commission, Parks and Rec for their phenomenal job with both those events. And then all the different caroling organizations that were doing the Christmas carols and everything was awesome. And then I also have two notes. Yes, Virginia, Santa Claus is real, and Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Remarks complete. Write that down.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would also just like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And yes, kudos to all of the nice events that took place this weekend. I would also like to thank everyone who helped us with the food drive. On November 19th, there were several hundreds of families that came by and got boxes from Second Harvest Food Bank for Thanksgiving. And I would also, I'm asking for council's a consensus on purchasing a table or sponsoring a table for the MLK prayer breakfast on January the 16th. For a table of 8, it is $300.
I support that.
Need that in the form of a motion?
Make a motion.
Okay, I have a motion that we
Second.
purchase a table.
Second.
Second, all those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Seeing none opposed. Thank you. All righty. I would like to also commend the Santa and Mrs. Claus, because they had to do so much this year more than normal, because they had Friday night and then Saturday morning breakfast with Santa. They had two different sets of kids that came in, about 200 all total, and very patient Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus. And then they left here and went down to the lake and were to have pictures with pets. And from there, it started raining. They moved in the gazebo. They still did pictures. And then they got on the parade and rode in the parade. So that Santa Claus really did well here in Hope Mills, but I do want to commend them and the Parks and Rec for, this is not their first year with us, but this is, I believe, the first year that they've been tied to so much going on. But it was a great time in Hope Mills. So many good compliments, and again, thanks to Parks and Rec. I would like to also ask the council to consider the Main Street event that's coming up March 13th, 14th, and 15th. We have attended this in the past, and what this is a way of looking at help to promote the Main Street. In our case, it would be a way of looking at what we could do with Trade Street. And we have put this as one of our initiatives as ways that we can help to promote that area as a business district, since it is considered our main street, even though it's called Trade. There is a registration fee, and what we need to do is probably find out who would like to go and attend. I know that in the past, Mr. McLaughlin and myself have attended, but it's not necessarily that it has to just be the planner and the mayor. It can be any of the council members that would like to go. So I'd ask that if you would let that be considered, because I think registration is going to be, is it in, I read it, but I believe it's in January to get the, so if you would think about considering that, and then maybe let, if it is something we can do, then let Ms. Starling know, so we know how many we would need to request funding for.
Can I get some information on that so I can
Yeah.
read it?
Well, why don't we just, Janie, I think we may have all got the email. Okay, forward it, and that way they can see it. And there is a good bit of information online also about that. But that would be something beneficial at this time to start looking at before we do our planning for budget for next
idea.
year, because this would be an opportunity for us to focus on one of those priorities that we've had before too. Alrighty, with that, that's all I have. Now, next we have presentations. The first presentation we have is fiscal year 2021-2022 audit presentation, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Holland. And this is, again, very proud of the fact, and thank our finance department, thank Mr. Holland for all he does, but especially that we're on time, on budget, and we do things the right way.
Thank you. Just wanted to introduce this year Brandy Turpville from Thompson Price Cotton Adams will be presenting our audit report from this year.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As he said, I'm Brandy Turble, audit manager for Thompson Price. I will go through the required communications and a few of the important numbers that most people view as important for a town. So with that said, we'll start with the required communications, which are found in the packet, in the black binder packet that you have. And then we'll start with that. This letter says pretty much that you hired us to perform an audit. We issued an unmodified opinion, which means a clean opinion. It goes through to discuss the new standards that were implemented this year, one of which was leases. Luckily, the town did not have to report anything for that because the lease amounts were immaterial for this year. So there was nothing to disclose on that. Financial disclosure statements are consistent, neutral, meaning they're similar to towns your size as far as the standard communications. Continuing to page 2, we had no difficulties encountered in performing the engagement. There were no misstatements or disagreements with management concerning the presentation of any of the numbers. As you get to the bottom of page 2, that's where we would list any findings or issues we had. So we're pleased to announce there were no findings, no issues. This year, you were not required to complete a single audit, which means you had no grants that required special attention. So therefore, you didn't have to do those extra steps for grant management. We continue to page 3, and it pretty well just says that there was no, that the standards are consistent and neutral, so nothing really on that page other than just standard wording we're required to report to you. And with that said, we'll go to page 4, which is the numbers. We try to present the numbers in a format that will let you see 5 years, so you can see trends. Those same numbers that are on the screen are also on page 4 of your handout. Fund balance, cash, general fund revenues and expenditures. Those are the numbers that typically a board is interested in knowing and should track. So you will see from 2018 to 2022, fund balance has grown. Also cash balances. On the revenue side, as you get down to the bottom, the revenues have gone up, but the expenditures have actually gone down. So that's good management of the funding. On the property tax collection rates, they've been consistent over the 5 years, and the property tax rate has been consistent over the 5 years. And then we put those in a graph format on the following pages that will help you see the trends a little better. So going to page 5, and the first chart is analysis of fund balance, which shows you the total fund balance, and the restricted and assigned fund balance would be in red, so that shows that most of your fund balance is available. The chart on the bottom of page 5 shows your available fund balance as compared to the group. So the group being towns that now have a budget similar to your size. It used to be based on population, but now it's based on dollar value of the budget. And it looks pretty consistent as far as, I'm sorry, I didn't even get to, those are the charts I was referring to. And now we're on this chart, which is, it shows everybody kind of went down in 2020, which of course that was the year COVID hit, so it was consistent across the board, and now everything's rebounding. The next chart is unassigned fund balance as a percentage of general fund expenditures. This is a ratio that the LGC often tracks as a mechanism for them to know how you stand in relation to your peers as well, which this one being unassigned. So not really a comparison to the peer group as there is for the fund balance available. But this just shows you for your expenditures how much fund balance is unassigned that you have available to appropriate for expenditures in subsequent years. This chart shows the general fund revenues over under expenditures, so in other words, net income, if you will. So it'll show from 2018 to 2020, it was actually below the line, and now it's rebounding and is above the line. And as you, many of you may be aware, there were several projects going on in those older years, so now we're at a point where it's positive. The following chart on page 7 shows cash balances and fund balances for the current year for the general fund, and then for other governmental funds, which is all the other funds besides the general fund. You'll notice that cash balance piece of that chart is larger than the fund balance, and that's because in the current year, there were a couple of grants that were received but not yet spent, so those aren't recognized as revenue until the following year when you make the expenditures. Continue to page 8, which will show you your property tax rates as compared to the same group weighted average we referred to earlier for fund balance. So you'll see that your property tax rate is in line with the other groups, the other towns in your group. This percentage, this is collection percentages, and because the line is pretty well straight across for all three, the numbers are kind of segregated by color, but the blue line being Hope Mills collection percentage, the red being the group rated average, and then the green being the statewide average. Following chart on page 9, you have the general fund revenue. So you'll see the biggest portion of the general fund revenue is intergovernment revenue, which is local option sales tax, franchise tax, those type of taxes, and then the ad valorem tax. Between the two, they make up more than 75% of the budget. And this is the chart on the bottom of page 9 is expenditures. So you see public safety, which includes police, fire, inspections, is the biggest majority of the expenditures, followed by general admin expenses. That's typically the main numbers that boards are interested in. I'm happy to answer any questions. It's always a pleasure to work with your finance staff. They do a great job, and we appreciate the opportunity to perform your audit.
Does anyone have any questions?
Madam, oh.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the 2021-2022 audit with a contingency on the LGC's approval.
Okay, we have a motion to accept this it is considered a draft audit. The LGC has to approve it, but the motion is to accept it. Do we have a motion, we have a second for the motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Seeing none opposed. Thank you so much,
Thank
and we
you.
appreciate it. And again, thank you, Mr. Holland, for another good audit.
I would like to tell you though, if you want some enjoyment in reading in the audit report, the MD&A, which is the management discussion and analysis, which is near the front, that is very good information in that. And also, in the back, you'll see a statistical section. It's about 18 schedules that show 10 years worth of comparisons of different things throughout the town. So it's very interesting to see what it was 10 years ago versus what it is today. It shows each year broken down as a schedule. But again, if you have any questions on that, you're welcome to ask me. Once it's approved by LGC, we have the final copy that doesn't say draft on it. We will get it on the website. And if you want a copy without draft, if there's a change, just let me know. We can get you one as well. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, next on our agenda is a public safety building project update, and our Scott Garner, our architect, if you'll come give us our update.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm glad to be with you. We are rapidly approaching the completion of the building. We still have a good ways to go on site work, but we are going through the punch list of the building, which means we're going through and inspecting everything. That includes the general construction, the site construction, and plumbing, mechanical, and electrical. So it's a very thorough inspection, and then we come back and we check things off as they're done to verify each thing is completed. We have achieved a temporary certificate of occupancy, and the police department has moved in. They are settling into their new quarters and making adjustments, finding how they can fit in and how it works for them, and it seems to be working out fairly well. Next week, the fire department should move in, and that will leave, the remaining work will be the demolition of the fire station, construction of the fire driveway to Gulfview, and the fire parking lot to the rear, and then the new parking lot behind Town Hall and Parks and Rec. So that will take a while. That will be driven by the weather. So let's all hope that we have good weather to get that. There is a March deadline for the completion of that parking lot. So we're in pretty good shape. The other item of business tonight is change order 11, which you received notes on that. The majority of that is driven by NCDOT and Duke Energy. As we were doing the final grading and planting in front of the building, we were notified by NCDOT that they wanted additional easement on our side of the road, and Duke Power was going to relocate the power lines to our side of the road. And the reason they were doing that was because with the widening of the road, if they left the power lines on the other side, they would have to take down several houses. So they elected to switch it to our side. They had poles and guy lines in unfortunate places. One was right next to the front door. One was at the corner of the building. We had a meeting and we worked that out. But then we had to redo that portion of the site. And there was a fair amount of work involved in redoing the site. We had to redo the site lighting. We had to move the flagpoles. We had to redo the grading. We had to redo we had to remove 3 trees, and we had to relocate the police and fire memorials. And so that was a fair amount of work. We also had to update the landscaping. We required some additional landscaping. We made the flagpoles and the police memorials and the digital sign the sign is put in as a focal point on the intersection of Gulfview and Rockfish. And I think it'll be very nice. We had to make that handicap accessible, And, it will be a very nice addition to the building. But the cost for that was like $75,089 to do that. We had two items that were contingency items. One was to upgrade a control panel for the police in the briefing room, and then for the signage, we had to pay for artwork, which is typically provided by the town, but we was not available here, so we had to pay for that. And then we enlarged the plaque in order to give credit to this council and also the council that conceived the project. So that's the bulk of that. And then we received, if we had work, we have to pay for it. If we take work away, we get credits for it. So we have taken some work away. We've taken out the requirement for the foundation for the antenna. The antenna base is not available. And so the fire department is trying to locate one through their supplier, but we will put in that foundation at a later time. And then we took out the landscaping for the new parking lot, Parks and Recs, does that on an ongoing basis. They will do it. This will give them better control of the plant selection, and also for maintenance. So we got a credit for that. All total, the change order is $47,345. If you have questions, I'll be glad to address those.
Okay.
I got some questions, of course. Wouldn't have it any other way. So, if we didn't have the change to the dedication plaque, what was the why? Why are we,
Yeah.
having a change to the dedication plaque? It's a plaque. Why are we having a change to it? And who directed that
Well,
change?
the dedication plaque is to give credit.
I know.
And recognize
Right.
the
Yes.
council that conceived it and also the
Who,
staff.
who said that they wanted it changed from what the original
We
issue?
talked to the design committee. The design committee felt that was the appropriate thing to do.
The who committee?
The design committee, the staff design committee for the building.
You mean like the Board of Commissioners? Because we're the deciding committee?
No, he said the design committee.
Design committee, oh.
It's up to you to make the
Right.
decision.
I mean,
This is a recommendation in order to recognize.
Separate item that's not in the budget.
I know.
Yeah, we're talking,
The design committee. That's what you said, the design committee, right? Yeah. Who's the design committee?
Well, I worked with the staff, and the staff felt it was appropriate to recognize both councils, this council that is doing the dedication and saw the process through, as well as the council that conceived it, and so that's what we've done. Also, the city staff has changed, the police chief has changed.
Yeah.
town
Yeah,
manager
that's
has changed,
understandable.
And all that, so we're trying to give credit to the people that are responsible for this project. It's not something we have to do, but it's a nice thing to do. It's typically done for.
it's an expensive thing to do. We're talking about $10,000 just to make a bigger plaque to have more names on it.
What was the original cost?
The original was one council, was to recognize one
Okay.
council.
And that I just I know we didn't set a precedent with this, but I know that when we did the ribbon cutting for the dam, and there was to be a sign, and then it was decided to forego that because it was completed with one board, but if you were going to put a sign, you'd have to do the current board, and so no sign was put.
There are a lot of buildings in town where they put the council that fathomed up the concept and approved it, and then the council that implemented and did it. And that's
Yeah.
where
I don't need my name on the building.
the meetings
I don't care.
they put it together.
I don't want to say I'm a penny pincher, but I'm a pinch a little bit of pennies because off the top of my head, I remember Sagra Stadium and they just had one council, and that's a pretty significant project. So damn near $10,000 just to have additional names on it is just like, let's just throw money away, kind of. Nickel and diamond here.
Well, we had to do the artwork, the town logo, the fire logo. There were a few additional signs, there were a few other items that were smaller, but that's the bulk of it.
Okay.
Well, it's a major building, and it's appropriate to give credit to people that participated.
I get it. I understand the whole,
Intent.
yes, exactly, the intent. I mean, I don't agree with it. That's all I have, ma'am.
Okay. Any other?
Would the council want to get direction on amending or changing that concept, or, I mean, I believe we haven't ordered it yet.
It should not have been made. We have not given approval for it to be manufactured yet.
I think we're still discussing the dedication date too, which I think we're looking at like March 4th.
That's correct.
Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
But this is one cost that's lumped in, because you're saying like it's artwork, it's names, it's a number of different things that's lumped into this
Well,
one.
there was artwork, there were a few additional signs, there were some other things, but the bulk of it was for the artwork and for the enlargement of the park.
So this is a combined purchase, combined price.
Yes.
Okay.
So it sounds like you never even considered the original. This was what it seems from my looking at that it was never considered just to have one set of names, that this was always seemed like to be the plan, because if you included artwork and everything bundled into this, it's like you planned and pre-planned it, but.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve change order number 11.
Okay, I have a motion to approve change order number 11. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Approval with your right, raise your right hand. Seeing none opposed. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Last one, right?
I swear to God.
We are,
Baby Jesus.
I would like to say just a couple of other little things. We are approximately 88% complete with the overall project.
Mhm.
Much further than that on the building. We are within our budget. We are on time, so things are moving along.
Okay.
I appreciate it very much.
Last time we said change order, right? Just kidding.
And I hope everybody has a nice Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
One last thing.
Mhm.
What?
Y'all heard of, the police have moved into the building.
Mm-hmm.
They're occupying it now.
Okay.
This is a huge
Right.
accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
5 years in the making. I believe it was March of 2017 when we approved the concept of starting this project.
Mhm.
Police should be, or fire should be moving in next week.
Mhm.
Then they'll be completely in the building.
All right.
This is something to celebrate. This is a big thing for Hope Mills, for this whole area.
Okay.
We're looking at possibly the first Friday of March of '23
Mhm.
to have the ribbon cutting and the big grand opening. I
Okay.
think, sorry, it's gonna be on a Friday. But
That's
that is
okay.
almost 5 years to the day of when it was
Groundbreaking.
conceptualized and approved to
Mhm.
start the project.
Right.
So that's what we're looking at right now. It's not in stone yet with
Mhm.
it being on the plaque, but nevertheless, this is a huge moment for Hope Mills and everybody in this area.
Okay.
So, thank you all
Madam
for
Mayor,
everything.
Yes.
Drew, can you consider March, the next Friday in March for the dedication?
That's
Not
what
the-
we're looking at right now.
The
Not the
10th.
first.
The 10th?
Can you consider the 10th
Is that
of
Yeah.
March? It's a
Do-
Friday.
Friday the 10th.
Do it have to be a Friday?
We could.
We
Next
didn't-
week.
We didn't do that, 'cause that's why we had the budget retreat scheduled.
We were gonna do the budget retreat that day.
Right.
But now we're doing it on the 9th, so.
What?
Flip them.
My
Yeah.
question is, do it have to be a Friday? Again,
How about a Wednesday?
see?
We were looking at putting close to the original date that it was approved, which we
Well-
thought 5 years to the date would be really neat.
Let's fudge a little bit.
Or the Monday before the March 6th meeting. Will that give us enough time if we do it?
We'll send an email out on some dates.
Okay.
But
That'll
I
work.
did wanna just reiterate
It sounds,
how great a time this is to be in the building.
sound like a plan.
What do you say, Brian?
Yeah.
We didn't have a dedication either without any parking.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that makes sense.
Yes.
It does.
Yeah, we need to get it all finished. Okay. Thank you, sir. Is that all? You got more? Thank you, Scott.
Please.
Next, we have Greg Adair with the River Mist Music Group for a presentation. This was put on our agenda by Parks and Rec Lamarco. So I'll turn it over to Greg Adair.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
Hello.
I had to put my glasses on. I'm used to reading books with pictures. Okay.
I'm warm. Fired up.
I appreciate y'all letting me make this presentation to you, and we're inviting the town of Hope Mills to partner with Gates 4 in bringing this fun, quality music venue back to the residents of Hope Mills. Gates 4 Concert Series was created in 2021 in its partnership with Gates 4, and the Fayetteville Dinner Theater is entering into its third successful year. The mission and purpose is to bring quality entertainment and to the residents of Hope Mills and Gates 4 communities free of charge, and to address the need for more quality family entertainment in this area. Oh. You said this one? Yes. Oh, there it is. It's going backwards. Well, I might be backwards. In 2 short years, we're well on the way to defining Gates 4 Summer Concert Series as the new premier outdoor music venue in Cumberland County. The most distinguishing factors are the selection of Fayetteville's, North Carolina's most talented show bands, and the variety of music that we offer has something for everybody. I'll learn how to do this as soon as I get done. Rock, soul, top 40, country, and beach, from the Beatles to Elvis Presley show, is a family entertainment spectacle. The second thing that distinguishes this concert series, its facility is beautiful and it's eloquent. Outdoor seating. Outdoor seating surrounds the pavilion stage in the area, and the under roof seating is made available at inexpensive options. The other unique and defining features are the availability of several outside and inside food options, refreshment concessions, 2 full-service bars, all ABC permits, and indoor restrooms for the ladies. The emphasis of the concert party is to have fun. Sing, dance, play. The Gates 4 Summer Concert Series is designed to bring quality family entertainment to residents of Hope Mills and Gates 4 communities free of charge. We would like to invite the town of Hope Mills to partner with Gates 4 as the title sponsor. We have 5 great North Carolina acts already committed, including a spectacular Las Vegas-style Elvis Presley show with full band backup singers, and all the concerts are free to Hope Mills residents. All that's needed is a lawn chair. The town's annual financial commitment of $15,000, prorated at $3,000 per show, is to cover free admission of the residents. It's for on-stage Hope Mills banner, live on-stage Hope Mills town recognition, stage recognition of attendees of dignitaries from Hope Mills, stage updates, which is important, stage updates of the Hope Mills area events that are coming up, all the talent fees of the band, stage, lights, sounds, insurance, security, setup, tear down. All you guys have to go out and do is have a good time and take credit for everything that's going on. They also, the door prizes there. It's just a great family event. If some of you have seen it, I know I've seen some in here that have seen it. It's a really great family event. Advertising on this alone for this 6 months period is $30,000. So with the town's participation, the Summer Concert Series actually becomes the Hope Mills Music Concert Series, contributing to your ongoing mission of bringing more music, arts, and culture to the Hope Mills residents, enhancing the entire community's quality of life. I don't even know if there's any sound on here. It doesn't even need it. But you can see on the video, you can just see the fun everybody's having. Everybody's, you know, just out there enjoying themselves. There's kids out there running around. Parents are able to come have a few drinks, get some food. It's just a really relaxed atmosphere to see some great entertainment and just, you know, just chill. Have a good Friday night. These are all on Friday nights. These are the first Friday nights beginning in May, and they run through September. On behalf of Gates 4 and the Fayetteville Dinner Theater, thank you for the opportunity. The support and participation we've already received from Hutmo's residents assures us that this would be a win-win for all involved. If anybody has any questions.
Okay, thank you. And what we'll do is, I know that Parks and Rec, by this you've met with Mr. Adair.
Yes.
So this would be something that would have to be considered for the new budget year. So that would be something that I guess Parks and Rec Committee could also take a look at. So thank you so much.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I had
Yes.
some questions. So, I have a question, sir.
Oh, you got it.
Yes, sorry. So if we didn't put the $15,000 into it, how much would it cost for, like, any citizen to attend?
The citizen, well, the charge for under roof is $38 and $65. $38 is food and band. $65 is all inclusive alcohol and everything.
Okay.
If you didn't do it, it would fall on somebody else, which it has. We've got 11 sponsors that are involved in little small increments, but we want a title sponsor is what we're after.
Okay.
Something that can help you guys, help us look good, help you look good. So
But
I know
it's
you
free
guys know the
otherwise.
expense of what it costs to put on events out
So
here.
it's free
So,
otherwise unless you want to sit at a table. I've been out there. I think what she was asking is any of the town residents that want to go, it's free. All you have to do is bring a lawn chair
Yeah.
and enjoy yourself. It doesn't cost anything. They don't charge to park. I've been out there to several concerts myself, and it's a great venue. It's a great show. There's plenty of Hope Mills residents that go to that. They bring their kids. Their kids get out there on the putting greens and stuff right there
I'm
to the
sorry, I
side.
didn't understand your question.
Yeah, but it's free unless they want to purchase alcohol, purchase food,
Okay.
or
So the concert itself is free,
Right,
so,
there's a beer tent, there's a liquor by the drink kiosk, and there's buffet food set up each time, and you can buy your food, or you can pay the ticket for under roof, or you can just go there free, buy your food, not buy beer, go there, buy food, and buy your beer as you go. So it's kind of a la carte.
and they
So-
have regular drinks as well, soft drinks and stuff like that. So it's
okay. And if the town were to, do the $15,000 towards it, is there anything that the town would benefit other than advertisement and stuff like that?
Well, the town gets to employ nobody. They have to pay nobody hours of work. That everything's set up for you. You just go out there and enjoy it. We give you credit from the stage of what I've been working all week to try to get set up and tear down and stuff. So.
But we wouldn't get any percentage of ticket sales or alcohol sales or anything like that to come back
Well,
to the town?
Gates 4 they got costs that's inside that. So that's what
Okay.
where they make their money on this. That's so I meant the ticket sales. There's no tickets. So basically everybody comes is people, their partners and stuff that are up under roof.
Mhm.
A lot of people just don't buy those. They just come and buy what they need. They sit their lawn chairs out there, blankets, and they just enjoy the show. And they just go over and buy a beer or two. It only costs them $10. So
Okay, so, I mean, because obviously, I'm not the type to go to a country club. But, so, we would essentially pay $15,000 to a country club. They would get the revenue from that completely, and we would just have them go anyways for free?
well, it's
Is that-
it's something for the town to not have to be working on. You don't have to pay anybody to do it. It's your event, and you haven't had to pay any of your employees to set anything up. You're paying for essentially the show to go on. You're paying and it's really just, essentially it's just a drop in the bucket to what this costs a year to run. It's about $45,000 to run it for the year. To pay the acts, pay sound, lights, insurance, all this kind of stuff that goes on, security, everything there. It's a real undertaking.
I mean,
Yes, sir.
and I'll add to it. I personally think it's a good idea. It gets Hope Mills' name out there. There's a lot of our citizens that attend it. You know, it's an advertisement piece for Hope Mills. You know, they can push our Facebook page, our website. If we got any activities coming up or any information, you know, they can speak to that during intermissions like I've seen them do for other businesses.
Yeah.
But it's not just a country club. There's people out there in shorts, tennis shoes, T-shirts, jeans. I've seen people in work clothes coming out there when they get off work. It's just a fun environment. I thoroughly enjoy the concert series, so I think it's a good thing. I'd also like to, if you've met with Lamarco, I'd also like to have Lamarco, if the manager doesn't mind, come up and speak his thoughts on it if he thinks it's a good fit for Hope Mills, and I guess this falls underneath his department. I understand. I think I heard somebody say that you had met with Lamarco.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
before Lamarco come up, if I'm not mistaken, you made the motion on the front end. They would get with Lamarco later on, and then they would talk about it, and they get with the committee to see how it's a good fit for Town of Hope Mills. I think we should stick with that directive and let that discussion go on with them. They come back to us with their recommendation if it's a good fit for the Town of Hope Mills and the citizen. That way we
Madam
move right
Mayor,
along.
Yes.
I do have a suggestion. Project Support Series Grant through the Arts Council, where you can host your own series of concerts in the town of Hope Mills. It is, I believe, for that one, I believe it is a matching grant. And you can hire you for one of our concerts, and the municipality grant that we already get through the Arts Council, that sometimes we have to do something to actually go after, because you have to do a certain, it has to be like, you have to have it has to be for some type of performing arts or something like that in the community that we are allotted for, but you have to do it, and then you have to request the money from the Arts Council. So those are just my suggestions when you are considering to look at this, and you can have them actually here in the town of Hope Mills.
I'd like to add to that too, Mr. Crazy. I'd like to see us bring something to Hope Mills, like Hope Mills inside the town limits.
Well, the Gate Sports thing is it right now is probably 75 or 80% Hope Mills residents, but and right now, as of yet, we don't have the reach in Gates 4 community itself as we do in Hope Mills, which I think that'll change as word of mouth passes. But it's a really great venue. It's a really great night of fun each month, and I think it would be really beneficial to the town. And like I said, once we get it there and start making announcements all through the night, we're making announcements. We're we're bringing attention to this one and that one that's come out here to see us, and what you are, and what this person does for us or whatever. And then we also will get up there and make your announcements that may not get out to other Hope Mills. We know how people are about. Some people don't hear on anything on the radio. We're running ads on the radio, we're running ads in the paper, and still word of mouth is the best way to pass it. So we will get the word out there, these things, and we're up to over 300 people last. It's growing each time. So it's a great event for Hope Mills people to have to go to, and that way they don't have to go downtown and everything. They can get it right here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank you. All right, the next thing on our agenda is public hearings, and the first public hearing is case ZNG-015-22, rezoning of 1.20 plus or minus acres from R7.5 single-family residential to C1P planned local business, CZ conditional zoning, or to a more restrictive zoning district located at 3414 Bullard Street, submitted by Kevin Grant, agent, on behalf of Kevin Grant, owner. And I'll turn it over to Mr. McLaughlin. And this is behind tab 3.
Hello, Madam Mayor, Board of Commissioners. As stated, this is a rezoning request, case ZNG 1522, rezoning request from R75 to C1P CZ district. As it relates to background information, it's a 1.20 acre site located at 3414 Bullard Street. It's currently zoned R75. It's basically to the back corner of this particular complex. The applicant proposing 2,400 square foot community center is focused on providing community-based programs to senior citizens and area nonprofits. It's also partnering with a company called, a nonprofit called Quirks, which they deal with special needs kids, and it will also have a food truck part as an exterior component. Site also consists of, proposed site also consists of a proposed community garden, a bar, a bike program, and a small business development program. Southwest Plan calls for mixed use at this location, so the commercial designation is not in compliance with the Southwest Plan. Site plan provides for a total of 14 parking spaces that will accommodate 7 food trucks. Two of the conditions, as this is a condition zone, it will be tied to existing regulations already in the food truck ordinance that caps it at 4 days, 20 hours of operation, 7 a.m. to 10.
Yeah, it's very quiet.
I mean, that's what we're looking for. I can talk louder.
Yeah, talk louder.
This is the existing zoning map that shows the subject property off of Bullitt Street. This is the location of your water and sewer and your hydric inclusion soils. There are none that are existing on the subject property. This is your land use designation. Again, it calls for mixed use at this location, so the commercial designation technically isn't compliant. This is your site plan. And these are your site photographs. This is a photograph of the subject property. Now, this is a house that ultimately will either be moved or demolished. This is the view along Bullitt Street. The Old Country Fish Fry is across the street. That's a commercial designation. It's not open anymore, but that's located on the left side of the screen. The subject property is right. And here are your conditions. The staff recommendations. So I'd like to open up the floor to any questions that you may have, as well as the public.
Does anybody have questions?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Do you want to go, come on?
No, I
thought you.
I have one question though. We are supposed to stick to the zoning if this is the fits the requirements of the zoning only. Okay.
And I think, and I have been talking, and then you can chime on this as well. With these recommendations being that they're so lengthy, I've had some conversations with some of the board members in terms of, is it legal that they read the entire motion, or is it that because this is a public hearing and the staff report is included in the actual packet that was advertised, can they just say that they're approving the case number, or is it required that they read every word in the motion?
What's required is that it's clear from the record what the motion was and what the board was voting on. So as long as, the easiest way to do that is to read it into the record, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's required. I think as long as the board says adopted as presented, because it's in the
Yes.
agenda packet.
Okay.
So
My question was, if it's in the agenda packet, does that make it part of the record?
it is,
If
that
that's the case,
does
then they
make,
can-
Yes.
now that makes the recommendation part of the record.
That's
But
my
it needs to
point.
be clear that what the board is voting on is the exact wording of the recommendation. So I think if you say something along the lines of,
That-
you know, we approve the recommendation
Staff
made as
Mhm.
written,
That'll
then
work.
it's clear from the record that, now if you change anything, of course, you have
Mhm.
to read that.
Read it, yes. I
Not
like,
to deviate from the
No, no.
question you were getting ready to ask, but I'm really.
appreciate that.
It's from my understanding that this intended use zoning doesn't meet the ordinance for its use, and it's being kind of worked around to try to fit that in.
That I'm not unaware of. I would say, one, I'm not aware of which ordinance regulation it's not in compliance with, but I will say that the nature of conditional zoning is a request to deviate from the ordinance regulation.
Well, I mean, this email is from you talking about how it doesn't meet the food truck ordinance because it's a four truck per lot maximum. So that's coming from your mouth. So I mean, we're going, there's an ordinance for a reason, and to circumvent the ordinance is against, what we're here for.
I would push back on that completely, because that email with me being asked, is there a way to basically move forward outright without complying with the 4-truck limit? The nature of a conditional zoning is such that if an applicant has a parking requirement that they can't meet, setback regulations, that is the nature of what a conditional zoning request is for. And so I don't want people to get into this notion of thinking that conditional zoning is a workaround. A conditional zoning in a lot of planning circles is considered a backdoor variance, but that's exactly what it was intended to be. And so we can't say that a case is not in compliance with the initial zoning classification, but they aren't being afforded a opportunity to apply for a viable legal set of regulations that are allowed in the code.
Okay, now I have another follow-up question to this. Okay, so the current zoning is R 7.5. Can you describe that,
That's a single-family residential zone,
single family, and what is the zoning that you're trying to go to?
commercial.
Commercial. And what does that entail as far as what can go on there?
And basically all uses allowed in the C1P district.
Anything commercial. So can anything, like, would that include apartment buildings?
Indy, are you asking if this project doesn't go forward, could anything?
No, I'm asking for that zoning. If, for C1P, what does that zoning, what can that encompass?
I don't know the exact list of permitted uses outlined in C1P, but it's for any, and that goes for any zoning. So if we're talking about C1P, we're talking about commercial, we're talking about R75. Whatever that zoning is, the uses that are allowed in our zoning ordinance are the uses that are allowed under that proposed zoning. So no matter what type of zoning you're asking for, if you're asking, if he's up here asking for R15, the uses that will be allowed are the uses that are allowed under that district. I would point out again, with conditional zoning, you're actually asking for a specific approval, and more than likely that is for that project. So
Right.
that's why I asked, was if there was a concern that in most zonings where there's commercial zoning, there's a concern that if the project doesn't go forward, is it a blanket zone that allows for anything? I would say no to that under conditional zoning, because one of the main conditions you're conditioning to is the project is asking for
Right.
approval, and the site plan, and the relief they're asking for.
And wouldn't have to come, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And wouldn't have to come back before the board if, let's say, for instance, he sell that business, go away. He would have to come back to the board anyway before they can put anything there, correct?
If he
Right.
gets this
Yeah.
approved and he does not move
Goes-
forward,
goes with
if
him.
someone wants to come back to do anything else, they would
Yes.
have to come back to remove that condition. So that's why I'm explaining what the nature of conditional zoning is, in relation to, your typical zoning request.
So, okay, so his intended use is to put a food truck rodeo, a parking lot for a food truck rodeo. So if we,
I would say no.
well, then why is the Fayetteville Observer reporting
I
that?
did not talk to the Federal Reserve.
Madam Mayor?
I
do you
would
have-
The Fayetteville Observer was calling and asked us in reference to, we had food truck rodeos here in Hope Mills. They were doing a whole article, and how did it impact Hope Mills? Because what they saw was that before COVID, we were having food truck rodeos on a regular basis. And during that conversation, they asked, what were we doing with food trucks now? And I said, we have not had the possibility of a rodeo like before, that we had recently started putting food trucks out there, and there was a possibility that we had someone looking at doing something with a more, like some of these other cities have done, with putting a location for food trucks at a venue. So that was what was asked, and the article became more than what it was, and it was all started with just questioning about what we did in Hope Mills food truck rodeos. And we started food truck rodeos in what,
Probably about 2015, but I to piggyback on that point, one reason why, and this is an issue for me, is because I'm not the person that they're talking to. And there's this narrative of a food truck park, and that's not what's filed. What's filed is a request for an applicant to community center. Typical food truck parks, I'll give you a perfect example of one that was talked about in the paper, it's one in the city of Fayetteville, this is about 8 months ago. It's off of Murkison Road, it's in the parking lot of the old neighborhood Walmart. It was used as an economic development piece, because when that neighborhood Walmart left that area, it sucked the entire economy and it made it a food desert. So the city of Fayetteville came up with an idea of just putting trucks there, so that there's not a new building being built, they put some benches outside. That's traditionally what a food truck park is.
Okay.
So I've been fielding a lot of conversations about food truck parks for a case that has not been filed as a food
Right.
truck park. It's really, and that's one reason why I pointed all it out at the presentation, because there's so much more than what he's building. He's doing a buyback program, he's doing a book program, he's building a
Right.
2,400 square foot facility, he has a community garden. And it has food trucks, but to classify it as a food truck park
Right.
is misleading, and it
Yes.
kind of causes some confusion, and I don't want that to derail
Right.
what appears to be something.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, because that was confusing. For me, it was misleading. And I don't know where they got the complete information from, but I think that is imperative that when a project is pending, that it comes from the reliable source that knows what's actually going on, so that we would not get misleading or misinformed about the project. Because like I said, when I say, what, the French fry? Because did not hear anything about it. And being a senator's got to make that decision, it kind of upset me a little bit. Not a whole lot, it upset me, just a little bit, shoot. And I think that it's important, that's one of the reasons why we said that, hey, we have you. We have the town manager.
Well, and if
that
you-
information need to come directly from those individuals that knows what's actually going on, so that we will be better informed.
And just to clarify, when the reporter called, the conversation was about the food truck rodeos that we had had in Hope Mills, because we did a great job when we were hosting them, and they were trying to compare that to what the food truck rodeos had become. So it was just a case of you never know what they're going to write. You never know what's going to come out in the media. The newspaper does what they do. So I apologize that they asked me questions that I was not the authority on, but I was the authority on food truck rodeos, because if you'll recall, when Nat Robertson started them in Fayetteville, we came to Hope Mills with Wade Fowler and talked to you, and then the board at that time pushed forward with rodeos. So having been familiar with that process is how it all started. But I apologize that you were left out of knowing what the article was going to say, because really I didn't know, and I didn't see the article because we don't get the Fayetteville Observer.
Well, I mean,
So be honest.
well, Madam Mayor, I mean, the original, I mean, there's conversations going back from August where this whole thing was planned out, and the first time a lot of us seen it was the Fayetteville Observer.
Well, at this point in time, we're having a public hearing
Right.
for this case, and that has no relevance to where we are in time. We need to move forward with what
It
we're doing.
does, as far as being informed and making informed
Then that is
decision,
something we
Madam
can
Mayor.
take that up at a different time. Right now, we've got a hearing in place that we need to hear the reason for the
Madam
hearing.
Mayor, I'm trying, I have more follow-up questions, Madam Mayor. To get back onto the whole subject with this zoning, when I got, because I did a Freedom of Information request, and yes, I understand that you're trying to have it also as an event center and all this other stuff, but I guess pre-planned site plan for that area, because we still have houses there. So that's one of the issues I have, is the fact that there's still houses right next to that area. And to have any kind of event area with food truck parking around houses right on top of that, I have a lot of issue with. So I don't, and this is why I like to be well informed so I can make an informed decision. And it seemed like, and this is just my opinion, again, it seems like you're trying to shape around the ordinance in order to meet the ordinance requirements. I don't know.
Can I
because, okay, so you're not supposed to have more than four trucks in, like a parking lot, that kind of area, or what was the, let me flip back to my paperwork. Ultimately, my issue is this, that we have all this stuff, food trucks, right in the residential area still, because there's still houses right there. And so I have an issue with that. That's the short and simple answer. So. No other comments, Madam Mayor.
Any other comments, concerns? Okay, at this time.
Motion to open the public
Have a
hearing.
motion to open the public hearing. At this time, is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this project? If you'll come to the microphone and introduce yourself, and then you may speak to the project.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Cray, and Commissioners. My name is Kevin Grant. I'm the owner of the property, and I'm the person that's purchased that property. I'm a lifelong resident of Cumberland County. This is home for me. I run a business, automotive business here in town. I chose to purchase that piece of land to put up a community center and event center, and it's all for giving back to the community. And I think you've read the proposal in there and what we're trying to do. I understand your concern, Commissioner Squirrel, regarding that, but from what I understand, there's going to be a cookout coming up right across the street where the fish fry is. So they're going to be coming in there with a commercial development as well. But for me, my intent is community, and to bring community together, to provide a bar bike program. The property is unique to the town because of its location, and I think there's a lot of good that we can do there. And to just speak to what I'm trying to do is just I'm trying to come from an area of giving back to the community and providing for the community. I think you've read my proposal and what we intend to do with a bar bike program to provide sports equipment to youth in the community that may not be able to use it. And that's exactly just what we're trying to do. It would be nice if we could break even on in doing this, and these are just the things that I speak to in the proposal of what I would love to do and give back. Hope Mills is home for me. Been blessed with the business that I have. And for me, I know it says I'm a developer, I'm just a person that bought it, that has an idea and a vision to give back to the community. And I think it can be a great thing. The revenue that we would generate from the food trucks is going to make the event center a free use center. The gentleman that spoke to wanting to have you guys partner with Gates for, we're going to put a building up
For free.
that we're going to intend to use it, and the town can use it. When we're not booking it for weddings or graduations, I would love for the town to use it. I look at it as though you're going to be my neighbor, and for me, it's about giving back and giving back to the community. And this is just a vision that I have. I've looked at that property for many years, and then I decided to make a move on it, and I was blessed enough to be able to purchase it. And this is the vision and the idea that I have. This is privately funded. I don't ask anything from the town of Oak Mills. This is just something we're trying to do, to create, to give back to the community. I think there can be a lot of good to it. I've spoken with the residents of that neighborhood. I've knocked on their door and showed them what we're doing. To the neighbor to the left of me, Mr. Cruz. So I've spoken with him. They're not up here opposing it because they think it's a great
That's
thing.
right.
So I just, we just want to share that with you, and that's what we're trying to do. I think there's a great benefit that can come to it in this world that we live in that's kind of coming out of this COVID. But for me, it's about giving back to the community and trying to create something good. And that's all we're trying to do. And that's all we're trying to do.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time. I'm available on there for anybody to call me. I would say my number's on there. If anybody would want to call me, talk with me, sit down there and meet with me, I would love to. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else would like to speak in favor of this project? Is there anyone like to speak in opposition to this project?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Have a motion to close public hearing. Any other questions for Mr. McLaughlin in reference to this project?
Madam Mayor?
Ma-
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was gonna make the motion.
I was gonna make the motion too. Go ahead.
Oh, I'd like to make a motion to approve case number ZNG 015-22 with the staff recommendations in our agenda packet.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I just like to say, it's projects like this that has a positive impact on our community, and I think that if we don't get behind a project like this, I mean, he's one of the few that came into this town saying, "Listen, I want to give," and let me tell you what, I'm a taker, so keep giving. Thank you.
And I would like, I read your proposal. I've been trying to find a location for a community garden and
Yes.
talked about it for 3 years. If I was going to do something in the community, it would be something that models what you're doing. I have a connection at the Library of Congress for free books to put in your nonprofit or your community building. So any way that I see your vision, so I appreciate it.
And one other thing, Madam Mayor, in doing what you're doing for the special need, I'm a parent of a special need, and trust me, that is needed in this community, and as well as for the elderly also. Thank you.
And United Way also has programs that once you say books for children and sports equipment, United Way also is another way that we've partnered with as a town. So that's another avenue too. Anything else? All right. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All opposed? So it's 3-1. And it passes. Next on our agenda is case ZNG-16-22, rezoning of 19.95 acres plus or minus from PND Planned Neighborhood Development to R5 Single Family Residential CZ Conditional Zoning or to more restrictive zoning district located 729 feet from the southwestern intersection of Goffview Road and Sushak Drive, submitted by GMR Capital LLC, agent on behalf of GMR Capital LLC, owner. And I'll turn it over to Mr. McLaughlin. And this will be behind tab 4.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Again, as stated, this is case ZNG 01622, a request from PNZ, rezoning request from PNZ to the R5 conditional zoning district. This is a 19.95 acre tract. This is the former location of the YMCA. It's adjacent to the town of Hope Mills golf course. The site is currently zoned under the PND district, bordered to the south and southwest by the Hope Mills golf course as stated. It's a well-established residential community to the immediate east and north. North would be across from Goffview. Applicant is proposing 300 unit apartment complex with vehicular access proposed off of Goffview Road. Development will consist of large upscale clubhouse with detached garages for residential units, 3-story garden-style apartments. Southwest plan calls for low-density residential. This is a high-density residential land use request. And this is your existing zoning. If you basically can see to the southwest and south is basically the golf course. There's a piece of property in between ours and theirs that's owned privately. You see the golf course community to the northeast. This is the location of your water and sewer. No, on the property. This is your land use designation as stated. Land use calls for low density residential. This is a high density residential request, so it's not compliant. And this is your proposed site plan. Again, you can see that the access is off of Goffview Road. And these are your site photographs. And this is your staff recommendation. Planning board recommends approval unanimously, and staff is in support of that recommendation as well. I'd like to open the floor to any questions that you may have in the public hearing.
Okay. And I'll start with Commissioner Mitchell. You have any questions?
I don't know. I'm listening right now.
You're listening?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
All right, Commissioner Morrow, you have any questions? Commissioner Scrolla?
Still reading it over, Madam Mayor.
I do.
Yeah, this is in your packet also. It says behind the tab. So if you need it closer, it's tab 4.
I read it already.
Okay. The recommendations are at the instead of the top of a page, it's at the bottom of the page and carries over.
Got open for a public hearing to interview.
Have any questions?
now I have
Mayor Pro-
questions.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so the current zoning is again 7.5, 7.5?
P and D, but these underlying zoning that is, regulated for P and D is our 7.5.
Okay, and it's trying to go to R5, correct?
Yes,
And R5 is zoning used for what?
Both R 75 and R 5 are single family residential zoning districts.
Single family.
Conditional.
Okay. Not apartment buildings or large, like, what's the density, I guess is where I'm
I
going.
would say R 5 yields a higher density, so you can do more units, but both R 75 and R 5 both allow for the same uses. So they both allow for apartments, they both allow for duplexes and single family residential. But I would have to agree that the request from R 75 to R 5 is density related.
Okay, that was what I was looking for, thank you.
Any other questions?
Motion to open the public hearing.
Okay, have a public hearing at this time. All those in favor of this project, or anyone in favor of this project, will come to the microphone at this time. Okay. You're in favor of it?
No, I wanted, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All right. All right, well, at this time, is there anyone opposed to this? And if so, you need to come to the microphone, and then you can,
My name is Jamel, Madam Mayor.
Uh-huh.
I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I just have a concern because I own the parcel 103. It's right by
Can you put it
dog
on the
park.
chancellor?
Gotta give you address.
As well.
Oh,
Yeah.
5741 Crenshaw Drive. Excuse me?
We just need to get your name right.
Oh, Jamel Dumas. Yep. My concern is that right now.
Yeah.
My property is right here.
Yes, sir.
The dog park is right there. What concerns me is somebody being able to access my property without my knowing so. I did put a fence up around, but I didn't put a fence in the back because it was just land back there.
Mhm.
Like I said, I'm not necessarily opposed to it. Now, if they put a wall going all the way down in the apartment complex, I would perfectly be okay. That's my only concern.
And
Okay.
that's no
Yes.
guarantee,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Okay,
That's it for me.
thank you.
okay.
And I think Mr. Dumas,
Gotta get your name.
oh, Mike Gillis. I live
Address.
on Crampton Road, 3616 Crampton Road. Basically catty corner from Mr. Dumas. And, you know, the concern of having some sort of sound barrier wall there, I think is pretty valid because there's 24 residents there. And here you're gonna put 300 residents, 300 apartments there. So what's that, about 600 residents? That's quite a few.
Mhm.
And I was just kinda curious, is it going to be, yeah, I know it said high-end, but is it gonna be government subsidized? Is it gonna be government subsidized apartments? Do we know that?
He's-
It's not? Do we know if Mr. George is going to come in and put about another 400 apartments there? We don't, no. But it's a pretty fair question because right now, Gulfview is super congested. You would know that, Ms. McCray, because you live down Steeplechase, right? Yeah. So you have to deal with that. And if you go out there between 4:30 and 6:30 in the evening, you're in a waiting line, all the way down past Black Springs, Heather Street, whatever that is down there. Yeah, it's pretty significant.
So here we're talking about putting another 1,200 cars on Gulfview. And right about the time where they're gonna be constructing that into what, 4 lanes or 5? Is it 4 lanes with a median?
Mm-hmm.
So if you come out, you turn right on Suchak, and you want to really turn left, you gotta go down to a turn lane and make a U-turn and come back. That's gonna be pretty significant. Those are my only concerns as to, what else we're going to have in there. And, one other thing that is gonna happen in the fall of 2023, because they're widening Rockfish and there's a consideration of excess stormwater, they're going to construct storm drains, a channel that's going right through my front yard as well, and that's going to dump onto the old golf course. So is that gonna interfere with those plans to do that? I can just- okay. That's all I have.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
To respond to his comments, typically, I have had conversations with the developer who is open to putting in a privacy fence on the rear side of that property. Pretty much this area here.
The full, okay.
Don't they, isn't it in our ordinance that they do have to have something there, either a barrier of planning, typical planning?
Privacy fence is
Mhm.
when you have commercial beside residential. Because this is
Residential.
Residential, it wouldn't be required, but the developer has said he's open to addressing that need. The second, issue is that, or one thing I'd like to address is that, the developer has been in very, intense conversation with NCDOT. If you notice, in your staff report, I actually put
Mhm.
DOT comments in terms of what they require
Mhm.
to meet that need. DOT is widening Rockfish
Yes.
Road to 2 lanes on each side. Those comments in your staff report reflect what they're gonna require for this development in addition to the widening of Gulfview. So that, in my opinion, is DOT indicate to us how they're going to anticipate or deal with the anticipated increase in traffic that exists on, that will be increased with this development, but to handle the load, because if you notice, in that, section of, my staff report, it states that Gulfview is already over capacity.
Mhm.
So the widening of Gulfview will help that existing situation, and then the extra, things that they are gonna be required to do from DOT, in my opinion, is DOT indicating what they'd have to do to handle the increased traffic for the development. I'm not sure if that addresses, everything he stated, but I do know that in terms of the storm, water issue, that's something that, Parks and Rec is making a part of the overall RFQ for the development of the golf course. So we are aware of that, as well, and ultimately we'll be dealing with time to permit
Mhm.
these projects.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
So with the fence, now I know one project we did, and we did make that conditional, that a fence be put there, didn't we? So could we do the same with this particular project?
The developer is not in the audience at this time.
Right.
He has indicated that they are open to that. And so one caveat, as I would say, is conditional zoning. Any condition we have has to be mutually agreed upon.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if their verbal prior to the night constitutes that.
I don't think I would rely on that.
And so, while I know that they indicated they are open to that, they are not here to say 100% if they are for you to add it as a condition, but I do know we've had that conversation.
Mhm.
If the board does require that as a condition, or want to require that as a condition, my suggestion would be that we continue this, we can close the public hearing, but continue the decision until the next meeting, until Chancellor can get clarity from the developers whether they're.
I'd rather do that. I'd rather do that then.
I'm just,
I have another.
yeah,
I have
I'm
a-
just wondering about the time, because that would put, we're not meeting again
Till January.
until January, and then we're meeting January is it 9th?
I suppose the other alternative would be, approve it with that condition subject to the developer's agreement, and if the developer indicates they don't agree,
I like that decision.
I also have
Okay, go ahead.
a question and I guess a condition.
Let's close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, public hearing closed. Okay.
My question was, I got notes here, but the fence to be put in writing, and also that the road that the town closed, that road not be used as an access point for construction or anything.
They have made it very clear, Crampton Road is not existing. I have made that very clear. I don't know.
So that's another thing that we need to put that in writing, that they understand that road is not to be used as a construction access point or to be used at any
One of the
time.
reasons why we said it can't be used, Crampton doesn't exist anymore. When we did the action we did, half of that area went to the Jackson Road at one time. We got us, so there is no road there.
I work construction. I know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to find out that there's a road there and they can bypass traffic, and they're going. It just needs to be in writing,
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
yeah.
And I'd be willing to make a motion that we approve it on with the condition
Those
of
two
those
conditions.
two.
Yeah, I had
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just need a little bit of education, because, zoning is not one of my strongest points. Now,
Got a headache.
oh, I thought you were agreeing with me, yes. So, okay, they want it zoned R5
Go wash my face.
to be
It's cold water.
highest density. Are we allowed to authorize it to be zoned and not as a high density? Not as a high density, is that making sense?
I would say no, because the zoning classification of R5 is considered to be a high density land use based on the zoning and the number of units that are allowed per acre for that zone. So I would say just candidly, if you have an issue with the density, I would say then no to the request of R5, because there's no way for you to approve R5
So-
with a low density designation, because it's not considered to be a low density.
But can you, I guess this would be a question for you. Can I make a motion to maybe not zone as R5, maybe as back as 7.5 or something?
Procedurally, I think what you would have to do is, right now, what you had is zoned a certain way.
Yeah.
And they're asking for it to be changed.
Yeah.
So you would just
Deny it.
the change.
That's what,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And I think I completely understand what you're.
Yeah.
But I think the easiest way to materialize that request is just simply to say you don't support the request to be zoned.
Yeah,
Cause R75 is the underlying zoning of P and D.
yeah.
And so saying no would keep it under the density of 175. If you support it, you are okay with the density of the R. But that would be the best way I would
Okay.
suggest that you exercise on it.
Any other questions?
Mayor, I got.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, can you repeat that again?
Basically, I think Commissioner Sorolla's issue is tied to density.
Yes.
And so what she was, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, trying to articulate, is there a way to not zone it R5, but allow for more density
For
than
more-
R75?
Instead of having apartments, have houses. That's why I'm trying to zone it appropriately to that, so.
And I think what I was explaining was that, especially if that's your issue, houses are allowed in both of the zoning.
Yeah, I know. Mhm.
So I think what Attorney was saying is, if you have a concern with this request, your best
Just
option
deny it.
is just to vote deny
Yeah.
that request.
I don't
Because
think we can just change it to a different zoning without their request.
Okay.
It's their
And-
formal request, so we don't want to dictate
Right.
what's
And then-
currently before the board is that request.
Gotcha.
That request only, yes.
If they deny this request and it stays the zoning that it is, which means what to this? They need to understand that.
If it's denied, there are two things they would have to, one, they would have to adhere to every period. It carries that 1 year period, that it can't be reconsidered for anything else unless they did under the existing zone. So they would just be forced to come in and try to develop it under the existing zone. If, the board approved the position of the board was denied, or they could wait a year and come back and ask for it again. When that 1 year period comes in,
Right.
and
That- and that means that
denied,
They wouldn't be able to do anything.
We've been there before.
unless it's a
Yeah.
substantial change.
So,
We Same problem before.
This is where we had that issue before, and we were trying to figure it out. Okay.
So, did Commissioner Morley, do you have another question?
I was just gonna say, I was gonna ask the attorney to, we have a staff recommendation here for a, motion, but I was gonna ask that the attorney word it, reword that into a motion that included the, fence wording and the road closure wording, so we can, if it can be done appropriately.
Yeah, I don't think you can do anything with the road because it's private property now.
Sorry,
The
Richard.
road would have to be the two people that own that road now, so
Yeah.
it's no longer a town road.
But it's
So,
still pavement there.
but we
and-
can't, we still, it doesn't belong to us.
I think what the mayor's saying is, and I understand what you're saying in terms of some materializing language that kind of,
I don't know that we have
Solidify
the
something.
authority to.
I think what the mayor's saying, there's no need to do that.
Right.
Because by us.
I was just trying to look out,
construction of it,
I understand what they're saying because it's private property now, but I was just looking out, because I know we went through that before, and I was looking out for the interest of the
Yeah.
homeowners that live there that would have to put up with the
Yeah.
construction
I would say
traffic.
staff,
Be a trespassing issue.
that's
Mhm.
what.
Yeah.
Then we can enforce it.
There is an enforcement mechanism in place currently. with
Okay.
that
Okay.
That's good.
Pretty much.
I'm looking at it as, you know, I understand what the mayor said about it being private property. I'm just looking at it, there's still a road there. And if people see it, they don't know it's private property. They're gonna try to use it. Whether it exists on the map or exists as private property or not, there's still pavement there. And
Well, just like with Mulder Street, Dr.
Yeah.
Dean, when he continued it, he just put a gate up there and put no
Yeah.
trespassing.
like I said, I was just looking out for the interest of the
Yeah.
homeowners over there.
Right.
There's not full pavement all over the back. Pavement comes up to the curb and that's about it.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The fence will take care of that too.
Yeah, fence will take care of it. So can you word that so that he can add fence to it?
Yeah, I suppose, where are the conditions on here?
I'm looking for it. It's like so many pages.
Can he modify it and just add item D as the fence?
Yes.
What we would be doing is adopting this contingent
Contingent upon
on
them.
approval by the developer. If the developer says no, we're gonna have to come back because we can't impose a condition unilaterally on the developer without their agreement because that's the rule.
Could, like, Mayor Pro Tem said, could we add D and D be, contingent upon the developer?
Yeah.
The request for this zoning is contingent upon the developer agreeing to, put fencing.
Yeah, I suppose really what this would be is kind of an offer back to the developer that we will approve it if you agree to a privacy fence.
Yeah.
I don't know that we can actually technically grant this without the developer's consent.
Okay.
So it,
So,
because he's not here to agree, we can't approve the rezoning tonight if we want that condition. As I think through it, I think we would have to
Make a motion to deny.
have further discussion with the developer to. because
So
we
just
may-
postpone the decision? Wouldn't it be
because-
better to postpone the decision?
Well, you probably want some say and some agreement on what the privacy fence looks like.
Yes.
Height, thickness, material, and that probably requires a discussion with the developer.
I personally, I agree with tabling it to the next one. Our ordinance regulations kick in,
Okay.
privacy fence, because we have regulations
Mhm.
of the height, things of that nature. I think legally, what he said is key. They aren't here.
Right.
Okay.
Talk to them, they aren't here.
Well, I'll
It
do
actually
that.
say
well,
that-
table it then.
So I think
Yeah.
tabling it to the next.
Because if you
Mayor.
make a decision and you deny it, then what happens is he
Then they
can't
gotta
do
wait a whole
anything.
year.
He's got to wait a whole year to
Mayor.
come back to us.
January.
Yeah.
So
Mayor.
let's make a motion to table it.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we table this, we table case ZNG -016-22 to the first meeting in January.
I second that.
And
Jan-
to, direct town staff to
To negotiate.
And direct town staff to,
come up with a provision or condition on the property.
And what I'll bring back to you is language to add to the motion as a condition after I've talked to you.
Okay.
Got that?
that'll be my motion, Mayor.
Okay. So we've got a motion and a second that we table this until January the 9th. So All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Thank you very much. All right, the next thing on our agenda is public comments. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm skipping over. We've been there so long. Case ZNG-017-22, revision and amendment to the Hope Mills zoning ordinance amending Article 2, interpretations, calculations, and definitions, Article 4, permitted, conditional, and special uses, and Article 10, individual uses.
I didn't put a presentation up. This is the language we presented to you guys in October. This is basically the, if you recall, and I'm speaking for the record, we got a moratorium in place that sunsets on the 31st of this month. We had a series of 3 public hearings or work sessions to come up with the language just before you get passed. Presented it to you at the third session in October. It went to planning board in November and was approved unanimously, and it's back before you today. So this is the exact language that we presented to you in October, and it's just here next month. Of course, I didn't put a huge presentation together for it. It's just the language that we've been anticipating. I will tell you that the consultant has a report ready for us for the January hearing that specifically yells out that we are gonna start the update for the Southwest Plan. So this is the end of it, in adoption of the language. But from this, there is a report that will be presented that outlines our request for us to lead the update of Southwest Plan. That'll come to you.
So at this time,
Motion to open
open
the
public hearing. So is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of or in reference to the revision of our Hope Mills zoning ordinances, Article 2, Article 4, and Article 10? Is there anyone here that would like to speak in opposition to these changes? Seeing none, hearing none.
Motion to close public hearing.
Public hearing's closed now.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve case ZNG-017-22 to include staff recommendations.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. And Commissioner Mitchell,
He's saying here.
I was gonna say, Commissioner
Uh-oh.
Mitchell.
Baby
Commis-
Jesus says no.
Was it 3 votes? It was still.
Yeah, so all in favor?
Yeah.
So,
And I'd like to
It's
say
passed.
thank you, for the support, for these work sessions. I will let you guys know, I'm gonna have another request in January for another set of work sessions, but I wanna tackle the subdivision.
Say that again, I couldn't hear you, I'm
He wants
sorry.
to tackle subdivision
For
ordinance.
another set of work sessions, cause I wanna tackle the subdivision ordinance now. So it's a couple things that you'll continue to see us continue to push forward.
Gotcha.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. At this time, is there anything you would like moved from our consent agenda to new business? Or do I have a motion to
Motion
approve?
to approve the consent agenda.
Have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Seeing none opposed. All right. Next, we have, Lord mercy. Old business, consideration of budget amendment number 10 and number 11 related to Thomas Campbell Oatman Chapel parking lot. And, Mr. Morrison, are you my person to talk about that?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. Essentially what this is February's change order, brought upon by a town added condition. When the contractor initially bid on the parking lot, curb and gutter and drainage was not part of his scope. To be good stewards, we added that scope to deal with the storm drains that will come along with the paving of the new parking lot. And in doing so, we did adjust the grades and the elevation required, which essentially means more fill dirt and more gravel. So it's a change that the town brought upon by necessity. It was something that we had to do.
Any questions for Mr. Morrison?
Make a motion.
Okay, what's your motion, sir?
Wait, what, I gotta find it. What page is it on?
11, tab 11.
Tab 11.
Oh, tab, I'm on.
Yeah, it's far in there.
Can he combine 10 and 11 together? Or you want them separate?
Can we do them both? Hey, tab 10, tab 11. I do them both then, if you want me to.
Okay.
Just pass tab, the what, 11 and 12 or 7?
It's amendment 10, 11, it's tab 11.
Tab 11.
Okay. Make a motion that we approve that we approve amendment 10 for the parking lot at the chapel. What's the next one?
And 11.
And 11.
And 11.
Okay, we have a motion to
Second.
approve, have a motion and a second to approve budget amendment 10 and 11. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Seeing none opposed. All right, next, under new business, we have consideration of acceptance of Cross Point Church annexation request and resolution number 2022-31, directing the town clerk to investigate sufficiency of the application. And this is behind tab 12.
I looked at that.
We need someone to make a
Madam
motion.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to have the clerk investigate annexation petition, request and resolution number R 2022-31.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Seeing none opposed. Next, we have consideration of a Parks and Recreation fee schedule amendment for special events permits, budget amendment, and this is number 9, and this is behind tab 13.
Good evening again. So as you may know, we have an influx of special events, and with those, my staff have been previously providing trash cans, removable fencing, staging, etc. Without any cost associated. With cost comes operational costs, time for staff, etc. And so to be consistent with what other municipalities are doing and to hopefully recoup some of the operational costs, we want to add that to the fee schedule. A fee for trash cans, fencing, etc. And those fees are consistent to what other municipalities are doing for special events.
I got a question, if
Okay.
you don't mind.
Mhm.
Do we charge for town staff that are required to be out there during these events that we're, because I see a lot of our town staff at these events sometimes like out there emptying the trash bins, and
Right. So
if
right
we
now,
pull
we're not-
those people in, I think we need to be recouping that cost too. If we're having to pay them extra time to be out there on a weekend or at night, I think we need to be recouping that cost as well. The town shouldn't need that.
Right. Well, the fee schedule is the first attempt to try to recoup some of that cost. The actual putting out the rollout trash can, of course, when we roll them back in, we got to empty them, and so that's what that cost is associated with. And then the cost where it says cost for maintenance and staff. Sometimes some of these events require the staff be there for incidentals or turn on the water if something goes wrong. We normally have depending on what the event is, we normally have a park attendant or maybe 1 or 2 maintenance people out there at some of these events like Pet Fest, etc. So,
And I know at one time we used to, if there was designated police that had to be there, we did have a fee.
that's already in the schedule.
Okay,
So,
because that was
yeah,
something I think, I'm
police
wondering
or
if we,
public works staff is required, that cost is already in there.
Yeah.
Fire rescue, etc.
Maybe we need
So
to
we
look
just-
at
we just
updating
didn't
that.
have anything for Parks and Rec staff, which essentially, along with police officers, a lot of times our part-time staff are required to be at some of these special events. So.
yeah,
Well, Madam Mayor,
yes.
will these additional fees meet your requirements, or have you slacking anything? Have you covered everything that you could think of?
I had my staff go through the whole list of things that are usually required for these special events, so I think we pretty much got it covered. Now, the numbers may be a little low as far as what we charge, but, we want to start a benchmark with what everybody else is charging.
You sure? Now, you don't want to go back and look at this and come back?
We look at that thing for at least a month. So.
Madam Mayor, I also agree because you figure, by the time the next budget rolls around, we want to make sure, we try to keep it consistent at least. I don't know, $2 a bin, personal opinion, but no other comment, sorry.
Now, question, that maintenance staff parking attendant, that $35 per hour for 2 or 3 individuals or each individual?
Each.
Oh, okay.
Good, that's good.
And that's consistent. We
No, that's
want to
good.
stay
That's-
consistent with what we charge for a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be coming from the citizens paying for this usage?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Mayor,
Yes.
if that's all the questions, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the fee schedule and approve budget amendment number 9.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Seeing none opposed. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, now we're down to, we're down to something. All righty. All righty, so we've got, does anybody have any question about the manager's report? Or are there any additions to the manager's report?
Just have one question.
Okay?
On the ADA transitional plan improvement, and then remarks that said contract to move into Trade Street. What is that?
Where do you see that?
This year, the money funded for the ADA transition plan has primarily gone to upgrading some sidewalks with the visual strips, the truncated domes.
Mm-hmm.
To upgrade our ramps.
Mhm.
And that's what we're doing. We're doing on the left-hand side of Trade Street, there are several spots where the sidewalk comes to the street where the humps are.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have any truncated ones there.
So in other words, that's saying that contractors will be working on Trade Street then?
Yes.
Okay.
We've been doing Kensington Village. We
Right.
just completed all of Kensington Village.
Okay.
And now we're moving them down to Trade Street.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I had
Yes.
a question. Because I know we're, Mr. Town Manager, I know since we're moving into the new building, are we completely moved out of the old police department?
We are, the owner has some little things that it's kind of nitpicking us
Yeah.
about, but we have, we provided him the structure, the building, and, I was over there with. We're out.
That's what I was like, I'm like,
We're out, we still have, we've been very accommodating
Yeah.
because of our extra money.
We gotta take the signage down and a few things like that, but essentially we're out.
I think the phone is still over there, the emergency phone.
okay.
For the most part, yes, we're.
So we're not paying more money.
Yeah.
That was the question.
Don't leave them nothing, take everything.
And I don't know, I was asked, in fact, it was on my way here, there is some type of metal building that has been put down on Trade Street that, we have changed our ordinance not to allow any kind of metal structures. We grandfathered in one that was there and it's been taken away since then. But I believe it must be more like is it a shed or a dumpster? I'm not sure what. I didn't go by there. I just know that the concern was it's about in that same location as where the other metal building was, and it might be something beyond that. But that was, I know that we do have,
Code enforcement look at it tomorrow.
and it
Okay.
might be a dumpster or something somebody's put. I'm not sure.
And while they're down there, look at that tree. That tree been down over there for about almost 2 or 3 months. It's a huge tree. It's in between that house and the YMCA on that little back street behind the lawyer's office. You can't miss it. It stands out like a sore thumb.
Okay. Anything else for the manager or manager's report?
I got one.
Okay.
Are we still gonna have our playground and splash pad by summer?
Yes.
I seen there was a note. I seen there was a note just said there was some delays. I just wanted to.
Yeah, the delay is trying to get somebody to give us a bid on the inserting installing the sanitary sewer, but we're working on that. We think we have a contractor. But short answer is, yes, it will be. We have the actual playground equipment and the splash pad equipment itself is here. So it's stored over at our maintenance facility at the golf course. And we have both contractors on standby to install it. We just need to get the utilities put in first and get it surveyed and staked before we get it done. So, hopefully in the next 3 weeks or so, hopefully 2, we'll have a contractor to do the utilities part. The contractor doing utilities will have to install the sanitary sewer, storm drainage, and the water lines. And their requirement is to stub out 5 feet to where the splash pad contract is gonna come in. So that's why he can't get started right now until we get it. So that's where we are.
What was it related to in the proximity to the current wells?
Yeah.
Was in violation, so they had those shifted so we can still use those wells for the grass?
I had another question.
Okay.
I see there's some ribbon cutting for the basketball court renovations. Is there any more information as a date?
I'm actually gonna have a Zoom call meeting with Mr. Blends and his team on Wednesday.
Okay.
It's gonna be before Christmas.
Okay.
So along with that ribbon cutting, it's gonna be some other events. I think free haircuts and a toy drive.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's gonna be an event there. So I'm having a meeting with them on Wednesday to actually narrow that date down.
Mhm.
And as soon as I get that, I'll shoot out an email, let you all know when that is for ribbon cutting.
The special events committee that, I know now it's predominantly the Parks and Rec staff, how often are you meeting? And the reason why I'm asking, it has been asked that if I would appoint a commissioner to that committee because there hasn't been one on the committee.
Right, we typically don't meet unless there's a big event that it's not routine. So what Scott and I agreed to, if it's a routine event like a 5K or something like that, that does not require staff time or resources, then we go ahead and approve that in-house, like the cross country. Now, if staff is needed, be it our staff putting out roll-out trash cans, fire rescue, police department, then we send an email. We send an email to all the committee members. I don't think we have a commission on it now.
Yeah.
I think,
Well, I was going to say, if it's all right that with the board, if I appoint Commissioner Legg to that committee, he does not have a committee assignment, and that would give us a member there that could. So when you have to have a meeting, you would have a commissioner, because in the past, the most recent one was Commissioner Edwards. She was the representative until we didn't replace her this year.
Madam Mayor, got a
Yes,
question.
sir.
We talking about event committee, correct?
Yeah, special events committee.
Special event committee. Now, since we have a Park and Recs committee, why can't that same commissioners serve in that capacity? I mean, because they're almost doing the same thing. The only difference is he or she would just slide, and that event would come to the table with y'all as part of that planning process when you have your Parks and Rec meeting. I'm just saying.
I think
Madam
we do.
Mayor, I am the Parks and Rec liaison, and I would think that my schedule, I would probably interfere with probably doing some of your meetings,
Okay.
because they're probably in the daytime, they
One
probably
good
need to be
thing
very
about,
timely.
Commissioner Edwards, and there's never a conflict, sometimes these things come up and we try
They
to
usually
approve
met
them.
in
Yes,
90
okay.
days. She was always available
Mhm.
to meet,
And that's my thinking with
relatively short
Commissioner
notice.
Legg. Yeah, that was my
So-
thinking with Commissioner Legg, is he would be available because he's retired, not working too. So, and they don't meet that often. But when they do meet, you'd have that could be the contact. So is that going to be a pro?
I do think that Marco and his team does an excellent job.
They do. Yeah.
I don't see the need for that, but I don't want to tell you that it should be.
Yeah.
And then here lately, even with COVID, what we've been doing is I used to send an email out and say, here's the event, here's the details. We can approve it via email, or if you all feel the need to come down and meet, we can also do that. And so a few times we've done it by email, even with the commissioner. So I'm open to whatever.
Okay.
I mean, Madam Mayor?
Yeah.
I have a suggestion. Same way you send out emails. Even if you CC all of us on it, because there may be some portion, like the Veterans Affairs Committee could put their hands in. The same, like how we were having issues like coordinating with HPC and the Parents Commission doing the stuff for Christmas. CC all of us, and maybe we would be able to get some input from our individual committees.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
Works for me.
So,
Yeah.
what are we gonna do?
Whatever you would like.
I feel like it's working very well the way it is, but I too don't get informed of everything, and there's a few things I would like to have done too, but, I have been seeking out the website and being informed myself, so.
When we get these new, I mean, some of the stuff is routine, like we know each year we're gonna do pet fairs. There's a couple of them, I can't think of.
Egg hunt and
Right.
Christmas, yeah.
So, yeah, we'll send it, I just send emails out to the board and the town manager and Jamie, and then you all can chime in.
Okay,
If it's don't broke, we don't fix it, but I would like to be informed more.
yeah.
Calendar, town calendar of the events for the month, and we all just have access. Town calendar,
yeah.
a calendar of the events that's going on for the month.
Megan we have a calendar, we can definitely share that.
Yeah.
Please, yeah, okay. I'm not guaranteeing I'm look at it all the time, but share it anyway.
Okay, then I'll just let Commissioner Legg continue not to be on a committee for right now until we can.
He comes with me.
That's right there.
Okay,
He be the
all
part-
right.
yeah.
The main thing was that there was a question because we didn't have someone appointed. All righty, so now we're to the, if there's nothing else about the manager's report,
We can skip it.
do we have any liaison updates?
My only update is, on December 22nd at 4:30, the prime movers are going to the Alms House to help serve dinner that afternoon. So just gracious for the opportunity to participate. And I don't think we have any other updates, and Parks and Rec will resume meeting in January.
Okay, anything else?
No.
Yes?
I want to take this time to thank the police department for coming out, helping serve meals with the Alms House last Wednesday. I forgot that part, and Chief, forgive me on that. It was great to have them out, and believe it or not, the people that came out and got meals, they truly enjoyed that.
And that's- Also, isn't it, it's Saturday, is Fill the Bus?
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
Fill the
I'm
Bus.
glad you
That's
remember.
what I was trying to say.
I'm not doing too well tonight.
It's all good.
Okay, anything else? All righty, do we have a motion for our closed session?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to conduct a closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318-11A6 to discuss personnel matters, and 143-318-11A3 to consult with the attorney on matters within the attorney-client privilege.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
Have a motion second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Seeing none opposed, we'll be going back to the main conference room, and we'll be back as quick as we can. Give the bell.
So we lost her.
Yeah. At this time, I'll call our meeting back to order.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to move to seal the minutes of the closed session to such a time of the release of the information would no longer frustrate the purpose of the closed session, and further no action was taken.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
Have a motion second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand.
Motion to close.
Have a motion to adjourn.
Motion, that's right,
Yeah,
motion to adjourn.
We'll see you all Thursday, possibly.